Welcome to the artistic process. This is episode 9, The Artist and the Root of Joy. Proudly brought to you by Movement Apparel, street style sportswear inspired by dancers. You can use my discount code, I am an artist, for 15% off at checkout. Look them up at movementapparel.ca or on Instagram, of course. Today's amazing special guest is my dear friend Derick Robinson, teacher, mentor, choreographer, director, just an absolute joyous human. Let's get started. It is my honor to welcome Derick Robinson to the podcast. How you doing, my friend?
I am great. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Me too. We always have great conversations, and
Always.
you just came on my live, and I know we had more to say, so I wanted to bring you on this platform. But we're going to kind of rewind and start from the beginning for the folks out there that don't know you or who know you but don't know everything about you. Well, maybe not everything.
Yeah.
We're not spoiling all the secrets.
How long do we have for that?
Yeah. Please be constantly listening to this podcast for the next 4 weeks.
Right.
So I want to hear just a little bit about, from young Derick to Xclusiv, family, school. I know you used to play soccer, dance, then to now. Just give me a little bit of this journey.
Okay. Wow. What a wild journey I guess we've been on for the last almost 30 years now. Holy.
Woo!
Right? Yeah. Well, I kind of bounced around moving a lot when I was younger, just kind of getting settled. I lived with my mom. Both my parents were in my life. I just lived with my mom. And she, like, for work and stuff, we moved around a bit. Was born in Mississauga. Then I went to live on a farm in Guelph for like 2 years. And then eventually ended up in Keswick, which is a small town about an hour-ish north of Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And very small, like cottage country, like house or hockey town, your typical hockey cottage country town.
Amazing.
And I loved it. I was a very outdoorsy, adventurous child. I loved to be in the mud and in the trees and in the water. So it was great for me. Like, I loved having the freedom to be able to go out and do whatever I want and not feel like worried. I don't know why I felt safer in the forest than I ever did in a city.
Oh.
Yeah, I love it. So, just being able to kind of enjoy being a kid was very nice.
That's awesome.
And then, like you mentioned, I did grow up playing soccer before I danced, actually completely before I danced. I didn't start dancing till I was about 15. But I played soccer up until I was 17, and I was playing all over Canada. I was playing with before I decided to stop playing. I don't really like the word quit because I just decided to stop playing.
Retired.
Yeah, early retirement from
yeah.
I was playing with the farm team for Toronto FC, so basically their semi-professional team. I was playing with Team Ontario. I had the chance to play with Team Canada once, but unfortunately I had gotten injured, of course. And
I feel like injuries are the story of your life.
Oh yeah, I've been cursed with the injury bug for many, many years. I had my first major one when I was 12, and I guess it just stuck with me. But I loved playing the game. It's just I had a rough experience with a coach in my last year, and I felt like he just wasn't being fair. And I'm totally cool with not playing. Like, when I played with Team Ontario, I barely played, but I knew because there were other players playing better than me.
Right.
But when I went to this team, I noticed that, like, I was doing well in practice. Like, all my other teammates were like, I don't know why you're not starting. I don't know why you're not playing. And like, that's the stuff that bothers me. Like, if I know I'm not supposed, like, not good enough to play, then I'm not good enough to play. But like, when my team is like, we want you out there and like, you should be starting, you should be playing. And like, out of, I think, 13 games or something. I only played like maybe half a game.
What?
Yeah, it was rough. And when I confronted him about like what was going on, there's a whole situation. For game day, if you were on time and you were supposed to start, you start. If you were late and you were supposed to start, you go to the bench. And if you're on the bench and you're late, you don't play. And
Mm.
unfortunately, I was like 3 minutes late. Granted, I was late. I was late, but it was 3 minutes. And I walk in the change room, and then my name doesn't get called again. I'm like, oh, great, amazing. My coach is like, hold on, I want to talk to you. And then he goes, you were supposed to start today, but you were late. So unfortunately, I can't put you on the list. And in my head, I'm like, doesn't that mean I'm supposed to go to the bench then? Like, doesn't that mean I should at least have a chance to
Ah.
play? And that was the last straw for me. Like, I
Mm.
kept asking him, what can I do? What can I do? And he just kept giving me BS. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a break for a little bit.
Did you ever get an actual answer why?
No, that was literally my last game. I didn't go to another practice. I went and I had a meeting with him, and we talked for like a good like hour about what was going on. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need a break. Like, it was really messing with me, and I was getting really like frustrated and upset. And like, it was one of the only times that like, I don't really lose my cool very often,
Right, right.
but like, it was one of the few times that I've actually got really heated, and my mom knew, and she's like, "We need to get you out of here because
It's a
this is not,
toxic environment.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was not working for me." So I took a break, and there was just a lot of other factors happening at the same time. Like, I was
Mm.
17, I had just kind of started dancing. I'd started taking classes a little bit, and I was like, you know what? Let me see how this goes. I couldn't really go back to my old team, so I was like, you know what? Maybe it's time to just try something different, for a little
Mhm.
bit and see what happens. Like, I'm still only 17. If I wanted to play again, I could. And then, hurrah, I turned 18, meet Hollywood Jade, and now I'm a book dancer, and I never went back. Yeah.
Hey, that's awesome.
At Hollywood for giving me my first quite a few opportunities, actually, as a dancer. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. And you were on So You Think. I remember your mohawk.
Oh, yeah, that good old mohawk.
That's the trademark,
That is the
original Derick Exclusive. Where does exclusive come from?
Ooh, good question. Actually, so in high school, in I think grade 11, early grade 11, I had decided to start. Actually, not just me, me or myself and a friend of mine. We decided to start a dance like team crew at our school, and
Yes.
just get a few of our friends that maybe danced or wanted to dance. Like, it was not like nothing crazy, but group of friends that were like, let's, I guess, start a dance team in this small town where nobody dances.
Perfect.
And so we were sitting and thinking of names, and I don't remember how we came up with exclusive, but we came up with exclusive, and we decided to be different by chopping off the E's at the beginning and at the end. So exclusive with no E's. Um, and then that was just the name of our dance crew. So our name was Exclusive Dance Crew. And then I had put it on, well, at the time when I was using Facebook, before Instagram and all that, I had in my name Derick Xclusiv Robinson. So once I started getting introduced to more dance people and into like more of the industry and stuff, people were like, just kept calling me Exclusive or Mr. Exclusive and this. So it just kind of stuck, and I went with it.
Oh my goodness. It's so funny how certain people's like pseudonyms or nicknames or whatever you want to call it come to be. Everyone always thinks there's some like giant epic story to it. And a lot of times it's just like, I don't know.
Right.
It was an accident or it was just
Yeah,
a
it just
thing.
kind of happened.
But it's true though. Like it sticks with you and you want to be able to carry it with you because it's a fond memory of like where you came from, I guess you
Exactly.
could say.
Yeah, for real.
And you turning into the dancer, teacher, mentor that you are now, I think you've been on quite the journey. And a lot of what it is that you do comes from this, like, I believe, deep rooted nature to want to create something that doesn't exist. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about finding your creative journey, your creative process, and then maybe how BUX came to be.
Hmm. Well, like you said, I think that's a good way of putting it, is like, I've always tried to create something, maybe not exactly always that hasn't been done before. It's just something that I haven't done before.
Ah,
Like I said, growing up in that small town, like I didn't really have the dance influence. You know what I mean? Like I didn't see dance around me. I didn't see, the stage shows. Like I watched music videos and stuff as a kid, but never with that dancer's mind of going, I want to do that.
right.
Like I never had that. It was just like I enjoy doing this. We had like a talent show every 3 months, something like that, at my school,
Mm,
and we always performed, and we always put on like a 6-minute piece every like 2-3 months. These non-dancers just put together this random piece, and it was always like a Halloween theme or a Christmas theme or a this theme or a that theme, and we just always
yeah.
tried to do something different, just for the joy of it, like for the fun. It was never like we never really went to competitions or anything. I never did that stuff until later on. So starting out, my foundation was very much so just like wanting to create,
Mm,
never to create for something, to create for like, accolades or recognition. And it was just to get in the studio with friends and have fun. Right. So I
mm.
never had the industry or any of that, or like Instagram or any crazy thing to influence my view outside of my own view of dance. So when it came to creating, I remember my first creation like story. I got asked to do this duet with one of the seniors at my school that saw me at a school dance. She was like, "Oh, you were dancing at the school dance," and I was like, "Yeah, but like I don't dance. I just
I
dance."
don't dance.
And she's like, "What do you mean? You just said you dance." But I'm like, "I know, like I can dance, but like I never like danced before."
I
like
can just picture you like adding hand gestures to that extra dance.
of course, it's me. It's always. But I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll come do it with you. And then I get there, and she's like, okay, we're gonna make it up. I'm like, what do you mean we? I thought I just show up, you tell me what to do, and I do it.
Huh?
And then she was like, no, I want you to do it like with me. I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. And I remember these words, and I will never forget them. She said, just do whatever. I was like,
Mm,
oh. So literally, my brain went, I can literally do anything and it can be considered movement or dance, or as long as my body is moving or like on the stage, I'm dancing.
mm-hmm.
So having that put in my brain at the beginning, just do whatever, you don't worry about it, just do whatever. I was like, wow. And it's literally stuck to me to this day. And it's been like a long time.
Oh
So
my
like
gosh.
understanding that is like that was my foundation. It's just like joy, wanting to create, and doing whatever. So
Yeah.
my creative process has always, even I may not have realized it back then, but now I realize that like my base and my foundation has always been just like to create, not for
Huh.
anything, not about anything. It's just have fun doing it and do whatever. And I've tried to let that stay with me even today. Everything I create, I want to do it because I have an idea, or I want to spark an idea in someone else, or I just want to have fun with this idea, or this is going to be a meaningful, like I want to touch some hearts and maybe shed some tears during this one.
Yeah.
And it's just always been because I've wanted to do it, and it's never really been because I feel like I have to or I should or it's for something else, unless it's a job. That's a little different, right? Like
Right. Right.
talking
Right.
about
Right.
like my own creative stuff. Um, but yeah, I try very, very, very hard not to take my creation stuff too seriously. It's been a little tricky lately. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like I try to let whatever comes natural happen, at
Right.
least at first. And then from there you can pick, and depending on the I guess the event or whatever that you're performing or the video that you're doing, it will require further, dissection, and you'll have to add some finesse, some details, and maybe change a few things. But overall I've it's just do whatever. Like
Well,
when you
I
think
actually, yeah, I actually really like that, especially now at a time where I think dancers have lost motivation when there's no end purpose.
Yeah.
So I like that you said spark, and to be able to spark that in other people and understand that they can create just to create.
Yeah.
And dancers can train just to train, and they can freestyle just to freestyle. And
Yep.
no one has to necessarily have the end game of a show or video or competition for these younger dancers.
Hmm.
They can have that spark all on their own to just want to do whatever they want to do. And I actually really enjoyed that. So, speaking of spark, what sparked the BUX program and experience? What does that stand for? How did that come to be?
Well, that actually was another funny story. One of my good friends, Curtis Coleman, I used to dance with him a whole lot. Um, and we were like really close friends. And I had this idea of doing these like interviews, kind of like, I would sit down and we would talk on camera. And then I had this whole, like, we did a session before, so we would freestyle together. And then I would be like, hey, pick a song that you like resonate with right now, something that maybe you've been listening to, or something that, I don't know, it just sparks you in the moment. And then I would film them dancing to this whole dance, and then we would go find somewhere else or find a spot to do a little interview. I'd ask them some questions just about their life or their about dance or their thoughts and
Oh.
stuff. And he was the first. He's like, dude, let's do it. And because I was talking about doing it for so long, and he's like, let's just go do it. Let's go do it right now. I was like, okay, true. And we went, and literally his very last, and I, the whole time I was like, I'm not doing it yet because I don't know what to call it. I don't have a name for this yet. I need something to call it before I do it, or else I'm just going to be like, here's an interview, right?
Here's the
You
thingamajig.
kind of need a name for your stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the joke is literally we're like, okay, you know what? We'll think about it as we do it. And we did the whole interview. And my last question was always, do you have any final thoughts to leave with, the world? And he went on about, doing things for you and creating and teaching and dancing from your own experience, because you'll never be able to live someone else's experience. They're not going to be truly
Mm.
yours. Someone else's methods aren't going to be 100% genuine. And then he's like, so you know what? Just be you. And my face lit up behind the camera. Like, and I was like pointing at him. I was freaking out. I was like, that's it. Be you. That is it. Be you. And I was like, wow. And then I was like, me, I had to be a little different. So instead of actually spelling BEYOU, I just put a B dot U dot be you.
Be you.
And then the X just comes from, that was more so based on the intensive that I run.
Yeah.
And that's the week-long one. And I was like, it's an experience, and we're all about having human and life experiences while we're here. So you're experiencing yourself being you,
Mm.
which I don't think a lot of people really do. They are themselves and they go about their day, but like, are you actively experiencing yourself? Are you actively experiencing what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're saying, how you're dancing, how your dancing is making you feel? And are you really taking it in?
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that has always been the focus for Be You. It's not, if you have that mindset, I will definitely help train you for the industry. If you have the mindset to freestyle, you have the mindset to create. Literally, I touch on all these things in my intensive, but in the underlying goal is just like, go after what you want. Um, Learn to be yourself while you're dancing. Learn to be able to share yourself while you're dancing, and trust and believe in yourself that is good enough.
That's
That
so
you
good.
feel good, that you want to dance, that you don't lose that joy, that maybe sometimes the industry or the creation process or the struggles to get good freestyles, like,
Yeah.
it's all a battle and it's all a struggle sometimes. But like, if you keep that joy, that spark that we kind of talking about at the beginning of just like, I just love doing this, or I just enjoy doing this, like this brings me joy. And that's what I try to help remind people while I do this program.
Yes. And you know me, I 100% agree with that. Humans first. And being able to include that human aspect in the artistry, because it's That's why I named the podcast The Artistic Process, with the
Hmm.
word artist being emphasized, because whatever process you're going through, it's a self kind of journey as well, not just the art. You know, the art
Yeah.
is within the artist. And what you're doing is you're helping people figure out who they are based on past, present, and future experience,
Yep.
basically. I also like that BUX also kind of reminds me of exclusive. You've got an X in both
Yeah,
of those
exactly.
things. I
You had
find
to
that
tie it
really,
together. Had to tie it together.
yeah, I find that really cool and interesting. And also, you know, us having worked together a lot, we're both people that love to tie things together and have
Yeah.
transition and have meaning. I think it
Yeah.
makes us whole again, basically.
Yeah.
And we love having joyful experiences, and we want that above all else. And something experience wise that I felt like brought you a lot of joy was being able to be the team captain for the Raptors dance team.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Shout out to Shavar Blackwood,
Hey,
of
hey,
course.
what up, Shabba?
So I think that's also something great that happened in the Toronto dance industry, was
Yes.
being able to represent such an amazing team. Um, I would love for you to talk a little bit about the experience you had with the Raptors, but also if we could touch upon, you know, the NBA and how they're doing stuff now,
Hmm.
and how great the Raptors are doing, speaking up about the Black Lives Matter movement,
Oh
actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely been an experience. So yeah, last season they're winning their championship season was the first year that I had joined. It was the
So
first year
cool.
that they had decided to make the team fully co-ed, which
Ah,
I think is a great idea. I actually just did another interview last week with a girl doing like not a report, but like a school project on the Raptors and the difference between the dance pack and Northside Crew now that it's co-ed.
right.
And I think it is just a great thing for everybody. You know, it's kind of breaking down the walls of your typical cheerleader, you know, and
Yes.
actually bring it to, if it's a dance team, like we are dancing, we are more than just, you know, pretty faces out there for you to look at and take pictures
Yeah.
of, you know, like
No,
we
y'all
are,
are
this is our
dancing.
job.
Like,
Like we are showing you our actual
yeah.
job now, right? Like, and it's a really cool experience to be able to, you know, jam with people on such a high and respected stage. Like there's so many people at these games. It's always a, like I have so much fun at the games. The
Mm.
games are like game day, just being able to interact with fans, go and they just let me be my wild, crazy self, and I let out a lot of steam and just scream and throw things as far as I can throw them. and,
Love it.
and get to go dance and you know test my brain. You know, Shavar, you know, Shavar is a very good motivator. You know, he doesn't kind of take things for lightly, and at least you know when he sees that you can do better, he tries to pull it out of you as much as
Mm.
possible. You know, but he's got to see that in you as well, right? He's got to see that you want to be better, and he's got to see that you know you have the desire to be better. And he's very much so like that. When you have that and you show that, he can kind of step up and really make sure to pull the team up. So it's really cool to be on that team with that dynamic. And then also, like you said, like looking at what the Raptors are doing with the whole Black Lives Matter movement. There we go.
Ew.
Um, it's you know it's great. It's not just the Raptors; it's the whole NBA. Like
Yep.
I think it's great that they're using that platform, even just in the simplest form, to just you know put a saying on your back, put Black Lives Matter, put respect us, speak or like speak their names. Like they're
Yep.
allowing them to put it on their jersey.
It's
They have Black Lives
beautiful.
Matter on the court. Like just being able to use that platform to spread that awareness to people that may not see it, you know, or maybe not want to see it, but look, you're gonna see it if you want to watch basketball. Like
Yeah,
it's
but I
important.
think the NBA has done a fantastic job of bringing awareness, done a
Oh
great
yeah.
job at finding a way for the players to play during
Yep.
COVID and have it be safe and proper. And then
Yep.
also using such a massive platform to be able to properly advocate for so many important causes. I
Yeah.
would be so proud to have been part of, you know, the Raptors crew, because you are technically part of that also.
Yeah. And it's good knowing that you're with an organization that actually cares about that stuff. You know, you go hire like Amber Lee, who kind of oversees all of our stuff. She is great. Like, she doesn't take any BS. She's very firm and very, like, stands very strong with, like, we need to be equals, and, making sure that everyone's stepping up and everyone's doing their part and everyone's well respected, which is,
Definitely.
like, it should just be the base. Like, I don't, we don't always have to agree. I don't really have to like you. We don't have to talk, but, like, we got to respect each other. And that's what
Oh,
I think is
thousand
missing.
percent.
That's what's missing, is, like, I don't care if you like the stuff I like. I don't care if you believe in the stuff I believe in, but, like, I need you just to respect that I exist and that I'm here, and I'm going to respect that you exist and you're there. And you can go be over there and I can be over here, and that's fine.
Oh, yeah. Respect existence. I love that. And you know what? That ties in beautifully to a lot of the stuff that you and I had kind of touched upon in the live that I wanted to re-talk about, which is basically, at this point, you've done so much in your career and you're starting to see the things that perhaps, could be better and need to be changed. And one of them is this mutual respect, normalizing,
Hmm.
working on this narrative change, let's say.
Hmm.
And I want to get into, if we are going to do this and if we are going to set forth this extra movement in the dance industry, are people truly ready for the narrative change? If we decide that we want everything talent based, people are going to have to start working a little harder.
Yeah.
We spoke about, you're always someone that's been great with casting, look, body image. You pick people for who they are on the inside. You see
Mhm.
potential and things like that. So if we're going to really make everything based on your talent, are people ready for it? Give me a little more on what your thoughts are with this.
That's a big question there. I think, I'm on the cusp, but, like, I've been experienced, but, like, I think a lot of this maybe newer generation of dancers, or even just dancers in this day and age, have a really hard time with rejection, with being told no and being told they're not good enough, because, the whole world is like, you're good enough, you can do whatever you want in the world. So that gives people, like, a sense of, like, entitlement sometimes,
Yep.
and they feel like, well, I showed up, shouldn't I get it? I'm here. And I'm like, that's not always the case. And I was one that was like that as well. Like, when I was younger, I was frustrated when I didn't get picked. I didn't understand why. And sometimes, yes, it was the look. And then as you go back, I was like, sometimes I just didn't fit that role. Like,
Yeah.
I don't dance like that. So why am I getting so mad that I didn't get picked? Well, it's just because I wanted to get picked. I wanted the paycheck. I wanted to work. I wanted another thing on my resume, right? Like, I wanted that experience. I wanted to work with this choreographer, et cetera, et cetera. But,
Mm.
like, you just kind of have to go, like, if we really are going to change based on talent, you have to know what your talents are.
Ooh.
Like, if, let's say, hypothetically, I'm solely a popper, like, that's all I do. I kill the popping game, right? But yet I go into this, like, ballet slash musical theater audition, and then just because I'm, like, a legend in what I do, I don't get picked for that job. Now I get all bitter. It's like, well, sorry, I haven't actually done the work to train in ballet or musical theater. So, like, how am I supposed to get the job if I haven't done the work?
Yep.
You don't just send people into space. That's what I used to think as a kid. You just sign up and into space you go. No, like, it's a rigor, it's a process to be an astronaut. Like, oh my. Like,
Imagine if people just signed a form and then they got
oh,
shot up into
I
space. Sorry.
wish they're coming out with, like, travel space. I don't remember the word, or
Oh,
leisurely
hell
travel
no.
space. And I was like, you know what? I'm all for it. Like, once it's safe and I see a few trips have gone front and back, I would love to go. That's been my
You
dream,
would.
to
You
go into space.
would.
Like, I love it. But, like, bringing it back, like, you have to realize that, like, sometimes these things take time, they take experience, they take training, they take hours of dedication, and not just, like, a 1 hour class.
Yeah.
It's not like we can just take one class and know it. Like, I went to school for dance. I went to George Brown, did their commercial dance program, which gave me ballet, jazz, musical theater, vocals, hip hop, which wasn't as great as it is now. Little plug in. I actually teach the hip hop program at George Brown now. Hey. Which
Hey.
is funny because almost a decade ago, they told me I should be teaching the class and not the actual teacher I had. And look at
Wow.
that. A decade later, I'm now the head teacher for the hip hop program,
That's what's up.
which is cool. But side note, like we had all of that in our program, and I still don't feel like I'm trained in some of that stuff.
Right.
Like I did a whole year, jazz and ballet every day, like all these things every day. And that's only a year. It was 1 year, and I'm like, I still don't know this stuff as well as I think I should.
Well, yeah, and if
Or I
it's
could.
going to, yeah, if it's going to be based on talent, if you really want to walk into a casting, and you want it to be based on talent and on look, we can't be delusional as to what our talents
No,
actually
I said you have
are.
to know your talent. You have
Yeah,
to
and
know what you've done.
you cannot start blaming things on other people or a non-existent scenario just because it's better to say, well, I wasn't good enough for that today. So
Mhm.
if we're going to change that narrative, which I would love to see done, it does mean we're going to have to work a little bit harder. It means that there will be a multitude of levels working at this. So basically, students are going to have to really put in the work. Teachers are going to have to be
Yep.
responsible for providing the proper education.
Yep.
Studio owners are going to have to make sure that everybody feels great about their own look and body
Mhm.
image, making sure people are healthy and happy. And then, casting directors are going to have to change the narrative that we're looking for any type of token or that they're looking for any certain type of body type, etc. And when I go into casting, I don't just want to see two old white men anymore.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
So if anyone out there is in any of those positions that I just mentioned, let's start working on that. And that's about holding people accountable. Now, you and I have had this conversation many times. Accountability versus canceling. Let's go through this. So, I'm not a believer in cancel culture. I believe that we can hold each other accountable through positivity and love and allow people the chance to grow.
Mhm.
I would love to hear your full theory on accountability versus canceling.
Here's I think a good way for me is like I know I'm a type of person that I have to learn things the hard way. I have to learn through experience. Like if the stove is hot and you tell me it's hot, I need to touch it to really know how hot it is.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like that's always been me. I have to experience something to learn my lesson. I have to fall off my bike to go, oh my God, I need my balance. Or I have to do this to realize, oh, I shouldn't do that anymore. Like I'm the type of person that has to do that. So when it comes to this stuff, it's like if you, let's say in my end, if someone's just deciding to cancel me, I'm not actually learning anything. I'm not learning my lesson. I'm just being told to go do it somewhere else or to go experience it somewhere else or to go try it somewhere else. Like
Yep.
cancel culture doesn't educate, it doesn't actually help. It just, it may help you because now you don't have to look at it, you don't have to see it, but that doesn't mean it's still not happening. And that's the hard part. And I think that's where the whole idea of cancel culture has gone wrong. That's where I think we took a wrong turn.
Right.
Is I understand the idea of taking maybe certain things away from people,
Yep.
taking their status, taking their whatever their job or whatever the case is.
Sponsorships.
Yeah, like that stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand. But at the same time, you need to make sure you keep those people in the corner of your eye.
Yeah.
Because if you are not watching them, then how do you know they're changing? How do you know they're not just doing it somewhere else?
100%. 100%. If you
And
just cancel someone and don't explain the mistake, the mishap, the effect it had on the community, and you just
yep,
start taking things away, they might even have the mindset that they're in the right because
exactly.
they're now this victim of, oh, all these things were being taken away from me.
Yep.
And they're going to continue to act and make these mistakes that they were making.
Hmm.
But if you hold someone accountable,
Yeah.
especially if this is someone who's in your life, someone you care about, someone
Yeah,
you love,
for sure.
there's an entire mentality of you need to talk to them and not about them.
Hmm.
And if we can have that conversation where, if you want to hold someone accountable, it's first figuring out why it's a trigger for you.
Yep.
And is that something that's internal? Is that something that you yourself are dealing with? And kind of come up with your answers and then approach them from a place that is not full of emotions, especially anger.
Hmm.
Because if you yell at me, I'm just going to yell right back at you and we will
Yep.
get nothing done.
Yep.
I am a stubborn Virgo Italian Jew. I will definitely yell right back at you with nonsense words and a lot
Right.
of hand gestures.
Trust me, I got the
Nothing.
Jamaican island blood in me too. So. Oh boy.
You and an argument would be hilarious. For the record, Derek and I have never fought, but
Never.
it would be hilarious.
That's funny.
So I feel like if you're going to approach someone, you need to approach it free of emotion and just a little bit more matter of fact. And if someone is taking the time to approach you about something and hold you accountable, thank them and do not immediately go on the defense.
Yeah.
These
That's the
uncomfortable
hard part.
conversations, and as Hollywood likes to say, it shouldn't be uncomfortable, we groan.
Mhm.
But these conversations need to be had and we need to communicate. And if you think about how many problems could have been solved because you just had that conversation,
Oh my gosh, so many.
the amount of times you've held this inside you and stressed and had anxiety and stomach pain and headaches and couldn't eat because you were afraid of that one conversation. But then once you had that conversation, like so much got lifted off your
Weight.
chest,
Yeah,
you
weight is
know?
gone. Or at least lighter.
At least
Like,
lighter, at
at
least a
least
little
lighter.
bit lighter.
Yeah.
And no, one conversation will not,
No.
solve everything, but it will bring you one step closer
Mhm.
to some sort of better resolution. And then that person now knows what they've done. You've held them accountable, which is, holding your end of the bargain, let's say.
Mhm.
And this person can now change. The narrative will change. And that person can also go on and educate others when they see them making the same mistakes they
Exactly.
made, perhaps,
Right.
That's how we fix it.
Yeah. Cancel culture only promotes more cancel culture. Accountability will promote more accountability.
Ooh, hate doesn't
Right.
solve hate.
Hate, yeah,
Love
exactly. Like you
solves
said,
hate. Yeah.
it's like you just gotta like, and it goes back to just being able to respect that the person exists. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
understand that, like, look, I hurt you or you hurt me, and be able to have it, like Hollywood said, a grown conversation. Like it should be that easy. It's just hard because emotions get in the way. And we
Yeah.
don't want to ruin friendships. We don't want to ruin relationships that we've created with the people around us. But like for me, if your relationship really is that strong and you really are that close, you should be able to have these conversations.
I think it also has to do with you're saying, friendship and things like that. I think it's also people are afraid of losing potential opportunities. We quite
Yes.
often don't speak up because we're afraid of losing a job or a gig or the
Mhm.
potential of a job or a gig, or we don't want to rustle any feathers or shake the table. It's enough now. It's enough
Yeah.
now. We've seen that doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's clear that that approach gets us nowhere and just digs us into a deeper hole.
Hmm.
And part of it has to do also with a lot of self healing, understanding, and forgiveness. You have a great standpoint on that. And you mentioned to me you recently watched something to do with forgiveness and healing, and you wanted to perhaps expand on that a little more.
Yeah, it's I'm starting to, kind of get into that a little bit more. I'm starting to kind of look up on forgiveness and stuff a little bit more. Is that like we don't forgive because I think we want other people to feel what we feel. We want them to understand. So we somehow relate that to forgiveness. Is like
Mm,
I can't forgive you until you know everything, until you feel everything or you get everything that I'm going through.
yeah.
And sometimes we just don't have that luxury of
Nope.
getting to the other person. If it's a really like serious case or something serious went down, sometimes that person is just unavailable. So
Mm,
how do you move on with your life if the other person is unavailable?
hmm.
You need to realize what forgiveness is. And I saw something like yesterday or the other day, and it's like forgiveness, like it isn't for you, it isn't for them, it's for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Forgiving
Forgiveness
is
is for
not.
you.
Yeah, and forgiving is not a sign of weakness or
No,
giving
not at
up.
all.
It is so
That's
that you
right.
can start your own healing process.
Exactly.
Forgiveness and changing and healing and understanding and getting therapy and all these things are signs of strength, not
Yep.
weakness. We got to change our mindset there.
Yeah, and it's, I've thought about it many times of like going to therapy or doing this, or like I have people in my life that like that coach that did me wrong for a whole year. I was like, oh my God, I was so angry at him for so long because I'm like, the whole time I've been blaming the fact that I quit soccer on him.
Uh,
For many years, I was like, he is the reason I quit. And that may have been the tipping point. But at the same time, like, I just wasn't happy playing there. I
yeah.
made a decision, like, I left my club team to go play with TFC. I left my previous team that had been on for like 3 years and decided to go, okay, my decisions are stay with my club team and potentially go, NCAA, go to the school, maybe go that route. Or do I go to TFC and maybe take the shortcut to professional?
Mm.
Because it was semi-professional. So I'm like, ooh, that's a little closer,
Hey.
right? Hey, so maybe if I take that way, I can get there.
Right.
In the end of the day, I made that decision
Yep.
to go to that team. Yes, I could have maybe stuck it out. I could have pushed harder. I could have just sucked it up. Maybe the next year I would have played. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could have done all this stuff. I made the choice to quit.
Huh.
I made the choice to go, I've had enough right now. I
Huh.
thought I was going to go back, but in the end of the day, yes, he didn't play me. It is what it is, but I was still playing. I was still present at all the games. I was still present at all the practices. I
Right.
was still there. I was still doing what I wanted to do. I made the decision to leave, but I was blaming it on him that he made me leave.
Oh, that's an interesting way of looking at things. And it parallels 1000% in the dance world and, finding what's right for you. And it
Mhm.
parallels into just, our entire human existence.
Yeah.
You cannot control what other people say and do, but you
Nope.
can control how you react and how you make your choices. And
Mhm.
technically, there might not be a massive difference between a bad choice and a good choice because we always have to make a choice and
Yep.
we always have a choice. And your choice was to not stick it out for another year. Your choice was to leave. I
Yep.
think a bad choice is not recognizing that, you yourself made it. A bad choice
Yeah.
is blaming others for your outcome or your circumstance.
Yeah.
I think
They're just not helping.
realizing that it's on you at the end of the day to get out of the bad relationship,
Yep.
to say no to this choreographer,
Mhm.
to rest your ankle for future purposes, to
Yeah.
it's Derek Robinson,
My
to
life.
rest your knees, backs, ankles, all the things.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. A bad choice is if you do not take responsibility, I would say.
Yeah.
And a good choice is understanding, taking the responsibility, doing the forgiveness, doing the healing, doing the understanding.
Mm. Now, I also understand there are some circumstances that may be a little bit more serious, maybe a little bit
Yes,
more intense,
of
that
course.
maybe may make that a little difficult. But it can also be your choice to get help. It doesn't always have to solely rest on your shoulders alone.
Very true.
Like, I'm sure that that person or that one opportunity or that one choreographer or whatever it is not the sole contact that you have. Is
Yep.
not the underlying, if I don't get this specific job right now that's paying fucking peanuts, I'm not going to be a dancer. Well, no, there are plenty of other people doing things. There are plenty other paths and job opportunities within dance that
Yes.
aren't just the music videos or just the artist stage and tours. Like,
And if you think
there's,
about that, are those really your dream jobs?
yeah,
Is
like
that
that.
really your career making opportunity?
Mhm.
99% of the time, no.
Half the
No.
time those people that are on those jobs and they've been on those jobs, and it's
Yeah.
very unlikely that you're going to replace someone that's been on tour with this artist and created this bond for x amount of years, and now like they're a whole family and you're just like, I'm gonna come and take your spot. It goes a little deeper than that sometimes, you know what I mean? Again, sometimes it's not just about your talent. People want to work with friends, people want to work with people they get along with, so sometimes your friend gets the job or their friend gets the job.
Yeah, and it's
Get the top
unfortunate,
spot. It's
but
very unfortunate.
we're trying to change it. But
Trying to change it.
for now, you just got to accept certain things. But if you really think about it and you go back to that moment where you said yes to something because you thought you didn't have a choice, did it really make that much of a difference in your career?
Yeah.
Because now what's going to happen is, as I watch these people say yes to the people they shouldn't be saying yes to, I'm going to no longer want to work with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to think that you have no morals and no loyalty,
Mhm.
and you don't stand for anything. This is what it's going to start to become.
Yeah.
I'm going to respect you more if you say no to this gig because we know that so and so is a bad human.
Yeah.
I'm going to respect you more
Hmm.
than if I see you plastered on a TV screen for doing that gig.
Right.
We're changing that. I
Yeah.
think we're changing that big time. I think it's taken a long time because we've definitely watched as those people who we consider undeserving, we've watched them
Yeah.
quote unquote succeed. And now it's about changing that energy and focusing it more on the good people. We
Yeah.
want to completely abolish our ideas of the bad. We don't want that anymore, and it's hard to do so when you sometimes feel like you're the only one standing up for what's right. Our dear friend Jessica Ford asked us a great question on the live, which was, how do you keep your mind right when you're not following the norm? And this has been something that myself, I think you as well, have kind of been battling for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've taken the slow road,
Yep.
and I
I'm
mean, I
gonna
feel
say
better
I don't want
about
to say
it,
the
but
slow
it's
road. I want to say the longevity road.
longevity. Yeah,
Let's say that.
the durable road,
The durable road. Yeah.
yeah, no, we'll find a really good name for it, but I guess, yeah, you're right. Slow and fast seem to be the wrong adjectives because everybody wants instant gratification, but that's not what we should be looking for. We should be looking for the endurance aspect of it,
Mhm.
the longevity, the careers that are going to last because we've always stood up for what's right, and we'll be there at the end of it. Whereas all these people that said yes to these instant gigs,
Yeah.
instant career changers, quote unquote, aren't going to be around till the end. They're not. And what are your thoughts then on anybody out there who feels like they're having trouble keeping their mind right while not following the norm or the hype or whatever you want to call it?
It's a tough one because like I know that there are lots of people that love the hype and that feel like that is them. Like this is who I am. And
Yeah,
I can't hate on that. Like if that is in like the depth of your soul, if like in your whole being, you know that that's what you want to do,
yeah,
by all means go do it.
yeah.
I think what it is you have to really realize, like, is this what I want? Is this making me happy? Again, go back to the beginning. Is this bringing me joy? Is this bringing me love? Is this bringing me something that's going to be a positive influence on my life? Or is it
100%.
something I'm going to have to like swallow my tongue and be quiet for, or like deal with abuse or deal with this? Is this a situation I want to put myself in?
Mm.
And I've put myself in a lot of really bad situations before. I put myself in really good situations. So I know the difference. And I know when I don't want to be in an environment. So
Yeah.
for me, it's just like it goes back to yes dance and yes career and yes job and all that stuff, but like it comes back to human, like humans first. Like it's got to be like what you want, what brings you joy, what keeps you calm, what gets you excited, what gets you wanting to get out of bed in the morning. Like if you're doing a job or a gig that's like draining you and sucking the life out of you, why are you going to choose to stay in that just for the recognition or the check or the whatever? You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
you should always have a solid reason as to why you're doing something.
absolutely.
And
And,
if,
and
like I
and
said,
at the top of that should be joy. At
yes,
the top of that
yeah,
reasoning should be joy.
right, for sure. And I understand we all have to kind of do certain things to get ahead and to do like to get our career going. But like if you're not feeling it and if it's draining you, like that is the opposite of longevity. That is taking life out of you. That is taking
Mm.
minutes, hours, days, years out of your life that you could have been doing something that you actually enjoy. Right.
Absolutely.
Like I know for me,
Absolutely.
I've always said if Usher came and said, "Hey, I'm going on tour. I need a dancer. I can't pay you." I'm going to say yes. because I love Usher since like I was a child, singing all the inappropriate songs, knowing absolutely nothing of what it meant.
7 o'clock.
And then growing up and going, oh shit, yeah, I shouldn't have been singing this as a child, but here I am knowing every word. So I know in my heart that is something that's going to bring me joy.
Yeah.
I have a reason as to why I am doing this for free. And if you have a solid reason and you have a solid, like, this is my dream or this is something like that, I will never hate on it. But if you're just like, oh, I just, well, I should get the money over someone else, or, that $200 has got to go to somebody, or, I don't really like this person, but like, hey, whatever. Like, if you don't have a reason why you're doing something, you're going to get lost and you're going to be easier to influence by these people. By these people that are trying to take advantage of you, because this industry tends to do that
with lots of false promises.
The whole of the entertainment industry, just not even that, just the world will want to take advantage of you for their own well-being or for their success.
Totally.
And if you don't have a solid foundation as to what your why is, then you're going to be easily persuaded into doing things that maybe you don't want to do. Totally. That's why I say LA is magical if you have your head on straight. Yeah. If you know why you're going there, if you know why you're getting into the dance industry, into the entertainment industry, into all of that stuff, into the commercial stuff, like if you know why and you have your set foundation, you can then choose what you want to build on top. If you have no foundation, someone else is going to build that for you. And it may not be what you want.
And that's going to crumble.
And yes. And if you get to the point where that building now, if they build their whole empire on your foundation that is non-existent, then what happened? Earthquake comes, one situation comes, that whole thing's coming down. One tornado comes, it's all coming down. But if you set your foundation strong and you stand for yourself firm, when shit hits the fan, you will be able to stand your ground.
Oh my goodness.
Because you have something that you believe in. You have something that you stand for, that you know this is right, this is wrong. Or this is what I like, this is what I don't like. Or this is what I'm okay with, and this is what I'm not okay with.
Yes, because you are rooted in your why. You are rooted in your purpose. You are rooted in your joy. And nobody can rock you if your roots are solid in the ground.
Yes. That's one thing I'm glad that I've taken the time to do. And I think I'm still doing. Like, a house gets built, you may have to kind of redo the foundation every now and then.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know I just went back home helping my mom out around like the house and stuff. And they had this guy re-cementing the foundation because it was cracking and stuff. But like, it's an old house. It's like 70 years old or something. Like, it's an old house. So like, understanding that, like, again, longevity, the longer you go, the more you're going to have to kind of touch base with what your foundation is.
Yes.
And like, it's got to be strong.
Yes.
I'm glad I've taken the time to put work into that, to figure out my what, first of all, dance, and my why. I enjoy it. I love storytelling. It brings me joy. Like, I want to be able to help people. Like, I feel good when I help other people. When someone tells me at the end of my class, like, I needed that. That is my favorite thing in the whole world. Yeah. I don't care if you killed the choreo. I don't care if you went down, you booked this, you booked that, whatever. If you're like, I needed that, all the things in the world is right when I get that. And it's like such a blessing every time someone says that to me. And I'm not really the person with all the big words and the fancy this and the fancy, like, I just speak how I speak. I type how I type. Like, I kind of am the way I am. So sometimes I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. And it seems surface, but I just don't know what else to say other than just that basic, like, this, I'm grateful for this. Like, I appreciate
100%.
it. And when I say that, like, I mean it, like, fully. I don't just be like, oh yeah, thanks, I appreciate it. And then like, I go about wanting to hear it from other people. No, like, if you take the time to tell me that, like, oh my gosh, like, that makes my day. Like, it's literally my favorite thing. So knowing that I can help people and knowing that my why is helping other people find their why
Love
is
it.
like the greatest thing for me. Like honestly, it really is.
And
And
we need more of that. We need more of that selflessness a little bit to kind of bring this community together. And I would love for you to kind of end us off with what your hopes would be for the future and any advice you would like to share on anybody who is currently in their artistic process.
I'm trying to find mine again too now. Like I'm starting to get creative again and do things. And I think it's because I'm going back to my foundation. I'm going back to why am I doing this? Like I want to create to get my skill. I want to pick up my skills again. I want to, get better at choreographing. I want to get better at freestyling, at editing videos, at all these things. Like I just want to get better. So like for me, I'm starting to really go back to what my foundation is and why I'm doing these things. I'm trying to remind myself it's not for the Instagram videos, and it's not for the fact that I'm trying to tell people I'm doing stuff or be relevant again. Like I just want to do it. Like I just really want to do it. And I encourage other people, again, as long as you are not harming anybody else in the process,
Mm.
do what you want. Like live your life to the best of your ability, making your choices, sometimes being not okay with your choices, but learning from it, right?
Yes.
Not every creation you make is going to be the Mona Lisa. Not everything you make is going to be better than the previous thing you created. And that's also for me because I've created some pretty heavy stuff and some pretty like inspiring pieces that sometimes I go back and I go, oh my God, like how am I ever going to create something like that again? Like
Yep.
it's this is not as good as that. And like that comparison, and not even just with other people, just with myself, is like killing me. And then you compare yourself to other people too. It's like an extra dagger in the back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like do things because you feel that you want to. Do things because it's bringing you joy. Do things because it's benefiting you. It's benefiting the community. It's benefiting your friends. Like do things because in your soul you know that that's what you should be doing.
Yes.
And try your
Yeah.
best not to be influenced too much by the outside world.
Yes.
Um, Especially nowadays because it's very hard to fake the funk in person, but it's very easy to fake the funk online. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like it's really so your online is like your resume. It's the best things you've done. It's the this, it's the high quality, it's the that, but it's not always the truth. It's not always um yeah, it's not always the truth. So what we're seeing is a version of people that they're trying to present.
Yes.
You
And
know what I
and
mean?
it should be you. It should be you.
Tudum-tsh. Um,
I got you. I got you.
right? Like I post whatever I want, whenever I want. If I like it, I like it. Sometimes I think about it too much, but in the end of the day, it's like you got to be able to shut out some of that influence and be like, why? Like, what am I doing this for?
Absolutely.
And it can literally just be as simple as I just kind of have this idea and I want to do it.
Okay.
Not every idea has to be this world changing idea. Like
No.
if you do something from joy and you are happy with the product that you create, own it. Don't let
Mm.
anybody else tell you anything unless they're coming at you with positive and constructive criticism. If they're coming at you like, hey, look, I saw this, but like I feel like if you had maybe tried this or tried that, or if you seek that advice, like go for it. Always seek to be better. But like if you're reading the comments and you're one of those people that go in on the comments and you may not get a comment that you like, and someone is like, oh, this is trash, you can't like take that to heart, because there's a lot of
No.
trolls on the internet too. There's a lot of people that like to talk shit. But you just got to kind of hold it and be like, be proud of what you create. I know I've created some great stuff, but at the same time I know I've also created some trash. Gotta be real.
Be proud also of the lessons that brought,
And
because
exactly.
it made you better. It made
Exactly.
you
It will
better.
all make you
Yeah.
better. Everything you create, everything you do to help progress you forward is great. And sometimes that moving forward also is kind of taking a step back, or
True.
taking a step to the side, or going around, or maybe going backwards, or
Pivot.
going
Yeah.
forward but facing back. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's so many ways, and I think people think of growth as this like straight constant line, and it's really
No,
not.
it's absolutely
Really
not.
not. So
Absolutely not.
if you're
Pivot.
struggling, yeah, if
Pivot.
you're having issues, if you're having creative blocks, if you're like, oh my God, this is not coming out the way I want, take a break. Let it
Mm,
marinate, sit on it maybe, or just do it and then look at it and analyze it, process it, and break it down for yourself until you're like, I am happy with this.
totally.
And at that moment, if you get that little tingle, in your butterflies in your belly, and you're like, ooh, I like this, makes me feel good, or I really enjoy this, or I'm happy and proud of what I just created,
Absolutely.
then run with that.
I love it.
And then you
I love
take that and you
all
learn
of
it
it.
the second time and you
That's it.
apply that.
And you keep going and you keep going and you keep going.
Yep.
I love our conversations so much, and I
Always.
love you so much. I wish you nothing but amazingness and even more joy. I appreciate you being here today, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Always, always, you got my full support, always and forever. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm always happy to have these talks with you, whether it's just us or online or live or podcasts or whatever it is. I know we always have really good conversations, and I'm happy that we can kind of bring it to the world
Yeah.
this week. I can say this
And,
week because this is the second time we've done it this week.
which I absolutely love, because we need to keep those conversations
Yeah,
going. So it's super important. Thank you again, Derick. Take care.
you too. Have a great day.
Wow, what a conversation. I learned so much today. Basically, be strong in your purpose, be clear in your why, be rooted in your joy, and most of all, be understanding of your own amazing process.